Lauren, why don't you share with us a little bit about how you use content and presentations, things like that, to add value to your clients?
Yes. So, and one thing too, I've noticed that it has also restructured my sales pitch because if there are loan officers that I haven't built a deep relationship with and I know that they're a top hitter, I'm going in and offering these trainings to them. I feel like the millennial, Gen Z, social media trainings, and then also a deep dive into social media trends for 2019 have been a huge success in our market. Our customers and the realtors, they don't know what they don't know. And so when you become that subject matter expert, it's helping the loan officers get additional exposure to their realtors, but it's bringing that additional value to them. And they appreciate that. And in turn, you end up being their go-to MI rep. So it's pretty gratifying. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So how do you approach that? Like, do you go to a client and say, hey, I have these presentations, or like, what does your process look like?
It's really case by case because on every single one of my calls, I always keep a monthly training calendar with me. And that's what I use as like my leaving information for them. And there's always a seminar that you were holding on there or a webinar. And so I talk a lot about cultural outreach solutions, and then I kind of deep dive into what we have to offer as far as the different presentations that we can take into their offices. So it's really case by case.
Mm-hmm. And
It
you
just
do
depends.
that in offices or with their real estate agents as well?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm talking to the loan officers daily. And so if they have big real estate offices that they're trying to do lunch and learn, say once a month in, for an example, one of my customers here in Knoxville, she sits in a Keller Williams office and they have about 250 agents in there. And she has to do lunch and learns every single month. So we already have two set up for over the summertime for her to get that additional exposure to those 250 realtors. But she's also mentioned that she's running out of information to talk about. So bringing this to her, and she has a lot of young realtors as well. So it was very valuable to her. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
And so when you are providing the presentations, how do you prepare for those? And what does your process look like in terms of preparation and delivery? Or at least at the beginning when you first started doing these?
Yeah, well, that's a different story than where it is today, for sure. So in the beginning, when I first started doing these, as far as mentally prepping myself, I would have to listen to some really motivating music in my car and pump myself up. Today, I I always go back and dive into the material and just make sure that I'm brushed up on it, just in case if there's anything that I'm missing. And I also add in additional bullet points if there's something that I've come across, and just go in and kind of modify it a little bit. But I also go back and listen to your webinars that you have provided on Discover M3. Those have been very helpful, but it's also a great resource to remind the loan officers and the realtors of, because they have access to the information for free. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't necessarily have to go in and do these presentations, but it builds the credibility for you and it strengthens the relationship. And like I said, you end up being their go-to MI rep because you're the one that's been helping them get all of this additional exposure to the realtors, and they appreciate it. So
That's awesome. So good to
yeah,
hear. And
yeah,
you've seen an increase in your sales as a result.
absolutely. It wasn't overnight. The seeds have been planted over the last couple of years, and to finally start seeing those flourish and blossom has been very gratifying as well. But yeah, I would say within our market, we probably started getting pretty heavy on those about 2 years ago.
Mhm.
So, and there's still, even loan officers that I've done them for in the past, they still want to continue to do those, even when we bring out new content and stuff. So we've become that subject matter expert for them. So,
Nice. Well, I love it. So glad to hear that it's going well for you. And yeah,
well,
great to.
thank you for offering the content to us, because without you, we wouldn't be able to take this out to them. So,
Yeah, well, I just wanted to share. I've been hearing about you doing the presentations and wanted to make sure other people could see how accessible that was, and for you to share some insight into that process. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Okay, well, that was perfect. Um, let's see.